Hey, welcome back, guys, to the show where we just talk about stocks. It's your host, Doyen, and this is episode 2. And we're just going to talk about 3 stocks that I researched earlier on, like in late May, early June, around that time. I didn't do much of research on them, but this was my first time doing research on stocks, so I just wanted to show you guys like where I started from, and then next couple of episodes I'll be showing where I'm at now. I'm not the best at it so far, but this is just a learning experience that I'm going to keep growing with and learning as more episodes keep coming out, and you know just like a journey of just learning how to research, invest, get better at it, and keep going from there. The 3 stocks that I was going to do was Macy's, Spotify, and Wingstop. These are 3 stocks that I chose back then to just do. Alright, so let's start with the first one I was going to start with was Wingstop. So Wingstop, is like a hot wing store. The ticket symbol for it is Wing, WING. Excuse me. The market cap is $3 billion. The price at the time when I was looking at Wingstop was $120, and the EPS for it was 74 cents. So the EPS means earning per share, and basically, he's making 74 cents off of your share. And okay, so I started with so I started with the CEO. The CEO is Charles Morrison. He's the president and CEO of Wingstop. The CFO is also the vice president, which is Michael Skipworth. And then, I might get this name wrong, but Mahashi Sataranji, sorry if I messed that name up, is the senior vice president and the COO. And I believe the COO means Chief Operating Officer. CFO is Chief Financial Officer, and CEO is Chief Executive Office. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the revenue that they had made from, remember this revenue is from back in late May, early June. So I started with the total revenue that Wingstop made was $91,359,000. That was back in December 31st, 2016. Their total cost of revenue, to operate the business and stuff like that, was $25,000. The gross profit was $66,000, and the operating cost was $36,000. Not bad. So now when we go to 2017, the total revenue was $105,000. The cost of revenue was $28,000. The gross profit was $76,000, and then the operating cost was $40,000. So as you can see, they increased over the year. So just from 2016 to 2017, they increased profit by $14,000, and then the cost of revenue they increased by $3,000. Their profit grew by $10,000 from $66,000 to $76,000, just from 2016 to 2017. And the operating costs increased from $36,000 to $40,000. Now we're gonna go into 2018. So usually I just look at the past 4 years to see the revenue, how they spend their money and stuff like that. Because you want to understand the company that you're gonna invest into. Like the type of investor I am, I want to know as much as I can about the company. I want to support it because it matches with what I want for a company to be doing, or it's similar to what I want. And so, this is what I look for. That's why I look and go back into it. I'm more of a long-term investor, so this is why I want to do the research before I buy it. Doesn't not all the time it matters about the price. The price is one thing, but eventually you could always get into it. And plus, some companies allow you to buy into stocks with a fractional share, like with Robinhood. That's how I got some of my stocks. I used fractional shares until I was able to fully own the stock. And if you don't know what a fractional share is, that's basically when say a stock costs $100, and every week you only have, like, let's say $25. You just add the $25 to the stock, and instead of you buying the stock itself, you just say I'm gonna buy in dollars. So you keep buying in the dollars. So after 4 weeks of putting in the $25, now you own that stock at 100. If it didn't, like, go up, if it went down, you did that, you probably will own more than one share. You probably own one share in whichever percentage it is. If it went down, or you know, so that's basically what fractional shares are, and that's what I do with some of my stocks. And if you don't always have to worry about the stock. It's always gonna be here, because once you learn how to search for a company and understand what you want to buy and why you want to buy it, then you're gonna know what price are you willing to buy. You understand that. You understand where you could see the company's price going. So maybe you might say, hey, look, I see this stock dropped to $75, and I feel like it could, like, say Wingstop, say if it dropped, it dropped to $60, and like, hey, I want to buy it now. After you did all the research into it, you're like, okay, I think $60 is a good buy, and you research the company and you understand it a little bit. You're like, okay, I could see this company hitting $100. And you're like, okay, I'll buy into it. If you did the research and you fully believe that, then most likely it could happen. And then you're going to make the profit, Or sometimes you might be doing the research, like, you know what, I think this is too high, I think it's going to drop. And then you just sit back and wait for the drop, and then you buy when you're ready. You don't have to rush in and buy all the time. Sometimes you got to sit back. Like, sometimes you will miss out on great deals, but great deals in the stock, like maybe you might sell too early and then it goes up, or maybe you might sell late and now it's going down. I had plenty of those already, and I've only been doing this for a year. So just take your time with it. It's not if you want to make the most money, you can, but for me, I could take it nice and slow, just have it, And so with Wingstop, so it was in 2018. So now in 2018, the total revenue was $153,000. The cost of revenue was $32,000. The profit was $121,000, and then the operating cost was $82,000. So as you can see, they're just really growing. Like from 2016, they was at $91,000. Then 2017, this is the total revenue I'm talking about. So in 2016, the total revenue was $91,000. Then 2017, the total revenue is $105,000. So just right there in that 1 year, they grew $14,000 in revenue, which I think is pretty good. Then in 2018, they went from that $105,000 back in 2017 to now in 2018 they're at $153,000. That's a big difference. That's like what, a $48,000 increase. So they went from 14 to now a $48,000 increase. So that looks good. And then the profit in 2016 was $66,000. The profit in 2017 was $76,000. But now in 2018, the profit was $121,000. That looks good to me. I don't know about y'all, but to me that looks good. But you also gotta look at the operating cost. It did also increase, because from 2016 it was at $36,000. 2017 the operating cost was $40,000. Now in 2018 it was $82,000. So you can see that first it increased by $4,000, and then it just doubled. It doubled how much it was, doubled its own operating cost, and then add on an extra $2,000 to it. So now we're in 2019, and the total revenue in 2019 was $199,000, almost 200,000. Then, and the cost of revenue was 41,000. The gross profit was 158,000, and the operating cost was 115,000. So you can see, they increased a lot, but it's not too badly managed, because if you look at it, although the operating cost increased from 36,000 in 2016, and now in 2019 it's at 115,000. That is a big increase, but still their gross profit was 158,000, which is also an increase from the 2018, which was 121, and a major increase from the 2016 was $66,000. So you can see they're growing. And this stuff you want to look out for, because some companies might like to have a lot of debt and keep borrowing money and borrowing to build up the business. And yes, the business could grow up faster, but are they going to be able to pay it back? That's another thing I look at. Not all companies, like, although they might look good and have a strong brand name, are they profitable? Do they have more assets than debt? If you guys don't know what an asset is, it's basically like a house or a stock, something that can go up in value, or something, it has a worth to it that's not going to go down. Like a car would be like a I forgot, it would be a liability, because as soon as you drive off, as soon as you take a car off the lot after purchasing it, it drops in value. So it's like you can't sell it for the same amount. But with a stock or a house, you can get it at one price and you could sell it for 40 times more, or you could sell it for 40 times less. You know what happens? I had one stock that was $5 and it went up to around $26, I believe. That's more than five times itself. But with that stock, I sold it way too early. I jumped out of it at $7. I was thinking that was how high it's gonna hit, and then it's gonna drop. I was horribly wrong. But you live and learn. So, but that's a real story for another day. But yeah, you never, with an asset, it could always go up. Car is not always gonna go up. Maybe if you add on more to it. I'm not a big car guy, but if you add on more to it, maybe it might then go up a little bit. But a stock, hey, you can buy that thing at $1, and then in 10 years it could be worth 200. But look at Tesla. Last year, December, it was around 300, and then by February 2020, which is only 3 months, December, January, February. By February, it was like 1,900 or 1,300. No, it was $900. Yeah, $900. And then later this year, back in August, June, Tesla hit 2,200. Those are some rare occasions, and you got to find a value in something, look at it, and to see what people think about it. But first, have your own opinion on it, and then see how others feel, so you can judge from what you think to what they think, and see, okay, is this still good buy? Always watch out and research. Okay, also, I put down for Wingstop, they had high debt. They was borrowing, $316 million, and they had 9.5 in cash balance. So right there, I believe I'm gonna redo all these stocks. These are the stuff I did in the beginning of just rushing it to see, just to learn it. I just did this by quick back in early June, late May, around that time of 2020. I did these. So a lot of these are like, not the best quality, but I'm gonna do these and do the best I can on it with what I know now, to see, how much I changed. That's why I'm, redoing these old notes I took on some companies. Also a lot of stuff with the Wingstop. nowadays a lot more people are doing diets, so that's a downside to them because a lot more people are being more cautious of what they eat and learning. I probably shouldn't be going out eating these things all the time. So they're probably switching up on what they want to buy, what they want to eat and stuff. Or maybe they don't want to go out to fast food no more. So that's also a thing. Also, Wingstop, it was growing fast with high debt. So that's another thing I want to watch out for. Make sure that the company you are researching and you want to invest in, make sure that they could pay back their debt. Because in case anything happens, you gotta make sure their debts outweigh the liabilities. Like I said, they make sure their assets outweigh the liabilities. And an asset basically is something that has value and it's not gonna go down, like a house or a stock. But liabilities like a car, it's just gonna go down. So you make sure you have that. And that's one thing I like Macy's for. They did really good on their assets. But that's another stock I'm gonna talk about later on today. But yeah, so just make sure when you're doing this research and you really want to invest for the long term, make sure that they're able to pay back what they owe, and make sure they make more than what they owe and have some on the side so that they can pay back. 2018, the debt equity ratio for Wingstop was negative 0.3 billion. I forgot how the debt equity ratio worked. That's one thing I just looked at one time and just looked at. But I remember that was not as great. And their total assets was about 173 million. So not as much to pay back the debt. The Wingstop, the business is basically about giving you the most flavor. That's another thing you want to look into is what is your business goal? Like, why is the business that you want to invest into? What's the goal of it? Like, what's the purpose in having that business? Is it a business that's like, hey, we want to give everybody food, or is this a business like we want to have the low prices? Is your business we want to protect the animals? Like, what's the goal of the business? Make sure you know and understand that. And for Wingstop, the business goal is that it's about the flavor and the sauce, and they want to serve the world flavor. So basically, they want to have the most flavor options available, so you guys can shop with them and stuff. Over here, I put down some notes for Wingstop. They have 300. Wait, did I write something wrong? No. That's right. Oh no, that's the ratio. I learned the ratio another time and I explained it to you guys because I forgot exactly what that was, a debt equity ratio. So back in late May, early June, Wingstop had about 311 million in debt, 17 million in cash, 294 million in debt minus. Once you minus the debt from, once you minus the cash from the debt, they still have $294 million in debt. The CEO of Wingstop, one of his goals is to increase their revenue to 1 billion and grow the store count into the thousands. So that's all I have for the Wingstop. But yeah, just some little notes I took here and there to understand and learn the company. So I want you guys, just look into it. Remember, don't take everything I say 100%. I could be wrong on some of these. These are stuff I haven't looked back into since late May, early June. So just look back into it. Make sure, like before you listen to everything I'm saying, like, oh yeah, he probably saying something that's right. It sounds right. Just double check. Never fully believe what anybody says. Like when you take somebody's word, it's like okay, and look it up to see what they say is true, or if there's a counter opinion to it, or whatever it is. Even I'm gonna look back on what I put here and combine and compare it to stuff I find now, in a couple episodes, I'm gonna redo all these stocks that I talked about in the last episode and this episode, and just compare it and see what's different. What more do I understand? I'm probably gonna start comparing, my old reviews to my new ones every once in a while, just to see, how much I changed, how much I learned. And plus, these are stocks that I actually, I don't own any of these besides Spotify. I did own Wingstop earlier in the year, but I sold it and missed out a lot on it. Wingstop would have been a good buy because I had Wingstop because I had a friend. He asked me, "Hey, what's a good stock to buy?" And I was like, I'm not a financial advisor, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I told him that, and I was going to tell you guys, I am not a financial advisor, so don't take what I say 100%. Don't do exactly what I say. I'm just telling you stuff from my own experience or things I've learned throughout, me doing stocks in the past year. So I'm not a financial advisor. So if you like what I say, that's cool, but make sure you do the research on it before you just jump into it. And that's all I can say. Really, I'm not a financial advisor, and please do the research. Don't buy something because, hey, Doyen said this stock was good and now it's losing money. Hey, these stuff are from back then in late May, early June. These are stuff that I was telling my friend. I told them the same thing. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is what I think. Just my opinion. These are not all facts that you should just follow and do this and do that. No. Make sure you do the research first and then go about it however you want to. So I told my friend, hey, look, I noticed a little pattern where it's a Wingstop. It usually goes to $100, then it drops back down to 70 or 60. So, I think that would be a good buy if you can get it around the 50s. I bought it at $60. Then I sold it at 56. I was like, and I did that within a week. I was like, you know what, this is not going to do anything. I don't want to wait, blah, blah, blah. It was also during the pandemic. So I was like, I don't want to wait. I want to make money quick. That's not how I operate anymore. I'm more of a long term. But back then, I was trying to do the day trades, but it's not my forte. And so I was like, hey man, I know it's a pattern, this and this and that. And he's like, oh, okay. So he bought it around the $70 mark, and then it went up to 122, I believe, before the summer or right when the summer started. And I was like, man, I missed out a lot. But I was happy that I was right. Like, I actually studied the stock. I was surprised that I studied the stock that much to where I actually predicted the pattern, but it did better than what I thought. So I was even more happy. Like, yo. And he made some money off of it, He bought two. So that's great for him. I was even more happy that I was even right about that. I was like, honestly, I know he's gonna get mad at me if this goes wrong, but I'm happy that it worked out and everything. So that's good. So now with Macy's are good. Macy's. I did Macy's because it's something I always hear my girlfriend and her parents talk about. Hey, look, they like to shop at Macy's because they find stuff for cheap. They like it. They do this. They do that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So like, what? Let me just try it out and look into them. And I did. And I did end up liking the Macy's. And Macy's is one I'm really looking forward to redoing. Because remember, this was just me just learning it, So I just want to get better at this and keep learning. So Macy's, the ticker symbol is M. I didn't write down which day this was, but I did write the close of the day when I took the notes on this. At 4 because stock market opens at 9:30 and it closes around 4. So when the stock market closed at 4 on this particular day, it closed at $5.37, and after hours, it increased from $5.37 to $5.43. Like a 6 cents increase in the after hours. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the revenue and stuff from the previous 4 years. So back in this don't seem right. So back right here, yeah, this one is wrong. I did this wrong. See, that's why I'm happy. I'm gonna redo all these. So back in, I think this is supposed to say 2016. So back in 2016, yeah, it seems really wrong. So back in 2016, the revenue was $25 million. The cost of revenue was $15 million. The gross profit was $10 million. And the operating expense was $8 million. That was back in 2016. See, on my paper it says 2017, but I think I wrote down the wrong dates. So I believe I'm gonna switch it back. Yeah, I think I wrote these completely wrong. I mean, I wrote the dates wrong, not the numbers. So, oh wait, this says. Wait, no, maybe I didn't do it wrong. Okay, so these are for wait. So these are for because maybe the quarters are different. So it says right here for January 31st, 2017. Maybe Macy's do their quarters different. So maybe they release their earnings from the previous year on the next year. So like say they made 25 million back in 2016. I'm thinking they released it like to show the public back in. So the money they made in 2016, I think they released to show it to the public in 2017. So I think that's why my dates are like this. So I'm just gonna say it the way it is, and then I'm just gonna just redo it in a couple weeks, and you guys can see the difference. I think I messed up on it though. So yes, January 31st, 2017, the revenue was 25 million. The cost of revenue was 15 million. The gross profit was 10 million, and the operating expense was 8 million. Remember, I think these are the results from the previous year. January 31st, 2018, the revenue was 24 million. So now you can see the revenue actually went down a million from the previous year. The cost of revenue is 15 million. The gross profit was 9 million, and the operating expense was 8 million. So as you can see, their expenses stay the same, but the money they made and the profit they took from the money they made both dropped. So that's another thing you want to look out for. You're like, hey, wait, why did this happen? Or you also can do that and also look at, okay, did they recover from it? Did they learn from it? What happened? So now in 2019, January 31st, 2019, their revenue was 25 million. The cost of revenue was 15 million. The gross profit was 10 million, and the operating expense was 9 million. As you can see, they went up in revenue by 1 million, and in gross profit they went up again 1 million. So it's basically about even with the 2017. Yeah, pretty much around even. Probably it's like a couple $100. No, it's actually a little bit less. It's like similar but less. And then January 31st, 2020, the revenue was 25 million. The cost of revenue was 15 million. The gross profit was 10 million, and the operating expense was 8 million. Oh yeah, back to something I didn't mention back in 2019. The operating expense did increase. I forgot to say that. So that's another thing I look at. Like, hey, how come the operating expense increased? How come everything else stay the same, but then to operate the business, it increased. And so you can see the operating expense went back down. The gross profit, it's around the same. The cost of revenue is around the same, and the revenue was around the same. So you can see, they're around the same thing. Next thing I have is 0.12% of shares are owned by all insiders, which is a pretty small amount of owners. 97.71% of shares are held by institutions, 97.83% of float. I think shares are float or float shares. I, I'm gonna redo all these. I probably just repeated myself. 716 numbers of Okay, so the 97.7 shares that are held by institutions. Institutions are probably like LLCs, the Vanguards, other banks, or anything else like a corporation. Those are the institutions. That's what it means. So out of that, so that 97.71%, that is made up of 716 institutions holding shares. So basically, what I'm trying to say is 716 institutions are owners inside the Macy's stock, and they own around 97% of these shares. Okay, now the COO is Harper John. The CEO is Garnett Jeffrey. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Jeanette Jeffrey, CEO, CEO, I mean. And the CFO is Huger Karen. And then I took some notes of how Macy's did back in 2008. And what I found out was sales fell sharply by the second half of the year because shoppers would stick to buying like necessities. No, like back around the middle of the year, so like July, August, around that time, people was like, okay, instead of me trying to buy all these clothes or whatever, during the financial crisis 2008, there was probably people in their heads was like, you know what, I just got to stick to what I need and that's it. And so that's why their sales fell sharply during the second half of the year. The next thing I have is shopper cut spendings even more. So when September came around, shoppers. So even though around the middle of the year, their sales fell, then again in September it fell again, even after that. So like say it's at 100%, then in the middle of the year it dropped down to let's say 60%. Now in September it just dropped even lower than 60. So probably to around 40 or 50%, because the global financial crisis. And then because of this, Macy's was starting to like, hey, look, if things continue to go the way they are, by the beginning of 2009, we can have really bad sales. Like we won't be making as much as we would have been making if none of this happened. So yeah, that's also another thing I look into. That's another thing why I was telling you guys in the last episode about the GE. Look into the company of if they've been around. Also look into how long the company was around. If they was around before 2008 and are established and all that, or established in 2008, however, those are kind of stocks you really want to look at, because when the 2008 financial crisis happened, a lot of people wasn't spending as much money, just like now during this pandemic. A lot of people are not spending as much money as they would have if we were not here in the situation. So you would want to go to like something that was the most recent event where people was selling less stuff, so you can understand, okay, this business operates this way. How did they handle what happened back in the day? So you want to look at like, hey, how like say Macy's, like say you want to buy Macy's in March. You're like, okay, should I buy it? I don't know what stock has to buy. Just go to Yahoo Finance, look up the stock, see what was going on, or just get the stock, like say Macy's, like I did. I just typed in Macy's 2008 and just read articles and looked at what happened. Like, okay, so this is what happened back in 2008. what do they do to get out of it? Are they more prepared to do it now? What are they doing? What's going on? Like, how would they handle another situation like that? And if you know your company could handle a situation like that, then you're good. If they can't, then take it at your own risk. But that's another thing you want to look for. Just look and compare. Like say during this pandemic again, look at what other companies did before they got into. I mean, look at look what other companies did during a recent event similar to what we're in, and you could see like, okay, they handled themselves pretty well, and they came out on top. Did they come? Yeah, look at. Did they come out better? Did they come out worse? Did they come out unharmed? Did they come out just fine? Was sales affected? Was they increasing during what happened? Were they losing money? Like you gotta look at all these things so that when say something like this happens again, you're more prepared and you can be like, okay, this company I can trust and they're gonna be good. Or say like this pandemic, say stocks was at its all-time high back early in the year, and then the pandemic happens, and then everything is dropping. You're like, oh no, and you panic and you sell your stock without understanding that, okay, does this stock have the potential to survive something like this? If it's no, then get out of it. If it's yes, probably stay in there and then average down as the price drops. So now you're buying less than what you're buying, the same share into the company you like at a cheaper price. Not all the time because a stock price falls, you wanna jump out of it. Sometimes you gotta just sit there and wait and it's average down. Cause say you buy a stock, right, at $100, and then it drops down to, let's say, $50. You're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna keep dropping. But this is a stock that you believe in, you trust, and you know can come back. What are you gonna do? Just leave it and lose the $50? Or you can just sit there and wait. And you're like, hey, look, it dropped down to 50. That's the discount. You just gotta change your mindset. But only change your mindset on the stocks that you know can actually handle it. Like say in this pandemic, it was a stock that cost 100, it dropped down to 50. If it's a really good one that you believed in, and they handled themselves well in 2008, and you can see that they're well off and good for the rest of the coming months or years, and they have areas that they're showing that they're improving and growing, then yeah, average down on it. It drops down to 50. Man, that's a big discount right there. That's 50% off. You buy one right there, and then say it drops down again to 25, and you bought one at $50, and now it's again it's at 50% off, and it's at $25. You better buy 4 more at that point. So now you have 4 at $24, and you bought one at the $50 mark, and you have one from the $100. So the $100 one, you're not making any money off of it. It's giving you a negative amount, right? You lose $75 off of it. But if you bought the 4 at $25, now you have 100 of them. Now you have $100 worth of it, but with 4 of them. Then you have another, a fifth one that you got at $50. That one is making you lose money too. So what happens when that stock starts going back up to 100? Now each of those 25s, once they hit the 50 mark again, now you just made $100 because each one just gave you back 25. So 25, 25, 25, 25. Now you just got back $100. And now you're 51. Then when you bought at 50, it's not losing any more money. Now they all go back to 100. So now your first stock that you bought at 100, you're not losing any more money off of it. It's completely neutral. So you didn't lose, you didn't make any money. That first stock you bought at $100, that one's fine. Now the other ones that you bought after the same stock, so now the ones you bought at 50, that one is give you back another $50. So now you made $50. So even though you had 150 when you put that one in, and now that $50 went back to 100, so now you have 200. See? And now you just made that money. Now look at the other ones that you got. The 4 at the $25 mark. Now each of those 4 went from $25 to $100. So that's a $75 you just made off of each of the 4. 74 times 4. Let's do the math right there. 75. 75 times 4. That's 200. So now you just made another 200 back. So now you average down as your own stock fell. Instead of selling, you average down on it, and you got back $200. Actually, $300. You see? And then you sell it, or then you wait on it. You know. But that's what you're supposed to do. Average down. Don't sit there and panic and sell. Never panic. Never use emotions to buy or see what stocks you want to get. Only use logic. Don't sit there and be like, oh, this stock is nice because X, Y, and Z. Like, no. Is this stock able to grow? Is this stock able to do this? Is this stock good? Can it survive something like this? How many months can this stock survive without making money? How long is it? Is this company good? Is it bad? What's the reputation behind it? What's the goal of it? What's the purpose in this business? Is it easy replaceable? Is it such a brand name that it can't go out? These are questions you gotta ask. I know it's a lot of stuff that you gotta do before you invest, but it's gonna help you so much in the future. The work you put in now will help you in the long run. So now back to the rest of the Macy's, so I can finish the Macy's one. Is I put reluctant to recommend a stock. This is so dependent on comparable stores. A lot of people wasn't trying to buy the stock. Wait, let me see. Oh, so a lot of people was looking at this Macy's like, oh, it's kind of like I don't really want to buy the stock anymore. One, because it looks like this company is heavily relying on store sales, and in a time where people are not trying to buy, these items, these clothes. Like, no one's trying to buy more clothes when they don't have the money for it. It's like, okay, why would I invest in here? I don't think they can do good. So a lot of people was reluctant on trying to buy it, and it was like, you know what? This company only grows by selling clothes, so we probably don't want to be all into this company. Now I put looking to raise $5 billion in debt. 2019 total. So back in 2019, to looking to raise the $5 billion in debt, I have to really look into that because I didn't write anything else beside it. So I'm not sure what I was talking about back then. So 2019, the total assets was 19,194 million. In 2019, the revenue was actually the total assets was 19. Okay, what did I write? I put million or billion, but when I redo all this, I will show you guys. In 2019, the total revenue was the billion. So probably what I said earlier with the revenues from throughout the years. I really look at those because I put millions for this 2017, 18, 19, 20, but then over here I put the revenue was the billion. I will look into those and correct myself. But see, I made a lot of mistakes in this one show already. So I'm trying to show you guys that you guys are gonna make mistakes and you just gotta grow from it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna learn it from now, and then I'm gonna redo it later on and go from there. The economy recovered. Consumers have been reluctant to spend their money on traditional merchandise, and particularly at department stores. They can sell less. Oh, and also one thing with Macy's, they actually own their stores. They're not actually renting their stores. So that's a big thumbs up for them right there. Because by you not having to pay rent and you own it, so now you're not just wasting money to eat like, hey, look, I gotta pay rent. I'm not saying paying rent is wasting money, but I'm saying they're not just giving out their money for rent. They actually own the store. So in case anything happens, they can just sell the building and then just rent it. So now you can sell the building, I don't know, let's say $200,000. Now you sold the building for $200,000 and you can just pocket that $200,000 and just pay the little rent that you got to pay. So that's a smart move from the Macy's. Their earnings per share was $1.81, which is profitable. Um, and the market cap was $1 billion. So Macy's is considered a small company, and that's it for Macy's right there. Now let's jump into the last one, which is Spotify. Spotify is probably one of my most favorite stocks. Yes, probably one of my most favorite stocks. Spotify, the ticker symbol is SPOT, Spot. When I researched this at this time, it was $192 per share. The earnings per share was negative $7.63, and the market cap is $35 billion. So Spotify is a medium-sized company, not a very profitable company, but that's because how the music industry works, and I'll later explain a little bit more into that. I don't know too much about it, but I'm do my research and get back into it. So 43.54% of shares was held by all insiders, which is a great thing because the other companies, most of them, the people inside the company, they own less than 1%. Here, Spotify, the insiders alone own 43%. That's something I like. I like when the owner actually owns a good percentage of shares. Mr. Daniel is the founder, CEO, and chairman of Spotify. Oh, I believe I put 80 million is how much shares the 43% adds up into. Hope I get his name right. Is Martin Lorenzon. He's the co-founder and director. The 10 different top institutional. There are 10. Okay, there's. What did I put? 10 different top institutional. So basically, the rest of it are also owned by different institutionals holders, and then you also have mutual fund holders are into here. So back in 2016, December 31st, Spotify revenue was $2 million. The cost of revenue was $2 million and 551,000, and the total revenue was $2,952,000. So the gross profit for Spotify was $401,000, and the operating cost was $750,000. Okay, now in 2017, the total revenue is $4,090,000. The cost of revenue is $3,241,000. Gross profit $849,000. Operating cost is $1,227,000. So as you can see, they just increased all around the board. So you can see the revenue doubled, which is really good. The total revenue doubled, which is good. The cost of revenue only increased by 1. The gross profit actually more than doubled because it went from $401,000 to $849,000. The operating cost went from $750,000 in 2016 to $1,227,000. So as you can see, their operation cost is less than their profit. That means more than their profit, which is it's not like they're still positive, but at the same time it's you don't really want your operations to be more, The total revenue in 2018, but I still like what they're doing. In 2018, December 31st, the total revenue was $5 million. The cost of revenue was $3 million. The gross profit was $1,353,000, and the operation cost was $1,396,000. So as you can see right there, they was very close to actually making more profit than their operation cost, which is really good too, because you gotta remember from 2017, the operation cost went from $1,200,000 to $1,300,000, which is not a big jump, but it still increased. But the profit that increased over 500,000, because that went from 849,000 to 1,300,000. So it almost caught up, which is really nice. That's stuff you really want to see. That's why I tell you guys to really just do the research and just learn. Just learn. Like, being an investor, just the best part about being an investor is that you do the research in the beginning, you learn all this stuff, and you just go, oh wow, this company did this, and you learn all this stuff about the CEO or who created it, why was it created. Spotify is, I can't wait to do Spotify one, because I remember some of the reasons why it was created and the the founder, and I think it was really dope. I like Spotify. I can't wait to redo it. Also, check out the company, man. He's one of he's the main person why I found out about, not found out about Spotify, but found out about some of the companies and information that you wouldn't really just hear about. And then Spotify is a pretty interesting one, and he showed me that one that I really like, and he makes very good videos also. Okay, now for 2019, the total revenue was 6 million. The cost of revenue was 5 million. The gross profit was 1,722,000, and the operation cost was 1,795,000. So again, they're right there. They almost caught up to the operation cost, but as the years go on, you can see that their total revenue is increasing, which is also good. But their cost of revenue is also gaining on them. It's like each year it's like almost there. And then the profit is almost there to be in the operation cost. So I believe soon Spotify will be very good. But remember, do your research. Don't just sit here and listen to me. I'm just a 21-year-old talking about stocks in a parking lot. So do your own research. I don't know much. I'm just showing you what I learned from back in the past, and I'm just learning it now. So some of these I forgot about. I'm just learning it, and I'm having fun. Hope you guys are too. Okay. What's next? All institutions. I don't know what word I put right there. Holders. Okay, so whilst here, Spotify has 1 billion in convertible debt. Convertible debt is when a company borrows money and both parties, I wish I wrote better. Intentions. When both party, I believe I put intentions. Where both party intentions is to convert the debt into equity. See, I forgot about that. I just learned that now. Oh. March 2020, the end of the quarter, Spotify assets was a total of 5 million. Spotify focus is on the international music. That's one thing I like about Apple and Spotify, is where Apple is mainly concentrated in the United States, while Spotify is big worldwide. And also, Spotify is a stock that I own. Why? Because I use it every day when I drive to work, every day when I'm driving back home. You might as well invest in what you use. Why not? So if you're gonna use the stuff, invest into it. What's the point in using something if you're not gonna own it? I'm not telling you guys to own Spotify. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a 21-year-old, remember, talking to you guys inside of a parking lot. So research on your own and do it. I just bought Spotify because I use that thing every day. You guys don't have to buy it for the same reason. You guys should just buy it because you see and you like it yourself, not because I said it. A 20-year-old, again, I'm just a 21-year-old in a parking lot talking. I'm just talking about stocks to have fun and just to chit chat. Spotify is not fully a profitable company. Oh, that's it. But I did write another one for Spotify. I did it twice. And this time when I did Spotify, it increased from the $192.74 per share to $200.78. And yeah, $278. So it increased almost $100 from the time of from in between the times that I did both of these write-ups. So also to say, I did not make any money for that one because I bought Spotify at 180. And I was like, yeah, this stock's gonna be good. It's gonna blow up. Yeah. I see the pattern. It goes from 180 to 190, and then it crashes. Then it goes back to 80. So I bought it at 180. It went to 190. I sold, and then it went down a little bit, and then Joe Rogan podcast was announced. No. Joe Rogan podcast was announced when I sold it. So that's why it went to 190. Then Kim Kardashian podcast was announced. And that brought it to $258. And I was like, oh man. Almost had it. Wish I kept it. And then Michelle Obama podcast came. And it went to, I remember this one too. I was sitting in my parking lot of my job. And it was at 9:25 in the morning. And I was looking at Spotify, and it was increasing from like 258 slowly. About the Michelle Obama podcast, I believe it started increasing a lot. And that thing went from, what was it, 270 to $299. Oof, I wish I sold at that time. How much money I would have made. But that's the joy in stocks. You never know. I thought it was going to hit 300. It did not hit 300. It went to 299. Like, what? But that's the best thing about stocks. Most of the time, they could be predictable, but also unpredictable at the same time. So you just got to know what you're doing. Pick it because you like it, and don't pick it because, and don't pick it because you hear me talking about it. Remember, I am not a financial advisor, and I am a 21-year-old talking to you inside a parking lot. So, during this time, the current EPS was still the same, negative $7.63. The market cap, this time the market cap was $52 billion, and it is considered a large. The EPS on July 29th, the earnings per share will be announced on July 29th, 2020. This was from back then when I was doing it for the second time. And I will do this a third time and a fifth time because I love Spotify. Streaming game, It also says streaming games will be coming soon to Spotify. I put 2019 is $7 billion in revenue but negative earnings. So I put $7 billion again. Okay. 2019 quarter four, the earnings per share was negative 22 cents, and the estimated earnings was negative 22 cents for quarter four 2019, but the actual earnings was a negative $1.14. The difference was negative 92 cents. So they was wrong they was expecting to lose about 22 cents per share, but instead they lost $1.14 per share. In 2020 quarter one, the estimated share was negative 49%. Negative 49 cents, and then the actual earning was negative 20 cents. So the difference was 29%. So they did better than what they was expecting. So that's what they want to look out for. Although it is a negative and they're losing money for every share that they have, for every share that we own and they own, they still dropped it. They still lowered it from 40. Remember, because they was expecting to be at negative 49 cents, but they got it at 20 cents. That's good. Although it's still negative, it still shows that they did better, Spotify goal. Our mission is to unlock the potential of human creativity by giving millions of creative artists the opportunity to live off their art, and the billions of fans the opportunity to enjoy and be inspired by it. So that's one of the goals of Spotify that I found. 2019 quarter two, the estimated earnings per share was negative 35 cents, and the actual earnings was negative 45 cents. So these are also things you want to look for. because when you look at these, some of these earnings per share can dictate how much, if the stock would increase or not. Because when these earnings are released, and you get to be inside the calls when they're announcing them and releasing it, it's going to be, some people will just sell it because it dropped, and some people might buy it because it's good or because at a certain part. So it's always be aware and just know your company. It's better to understand your company than not to understand and just buy it because someone said so. The reason why I might buy Spotify is most likely not the reason why you'll buy Spotify. The reason why I keep Spotify is probably not the reason why you'll keep it. We are not the same person. We're not the same. We have different ideas. So what you might want to do with your money is probably not something I want to do with my money. So if I say I own Spotify, that is me saying I own it, but it doesn't mean that you guys should buy it. You should look into it for yourself and see if that is something that you will like, or Macy's, or Wingstop. These are stuff that you gotta look into for yourself, or any other stock that you want to see. You need to look at it for yourself to understand for you, is this something I want to invest into? Remember, when you own a stock, you own a piece of the company. It might not be a giant piece, but you own a piece of the company. I can literally walk around and say, I own my phone. I own Apple. I don't have a big percent. I don't have a lot of say so, but I own my phone. I own Apple stock, so I own my phone. Can a lot of people say that? I don't own Adidas, so I'm wearing Adidas right now for my shoes. I don't own that, so that sucks. But one of these days, I'm gonna look into it and see if it's a good buy. If it's a good buy, I'm gonna buy it. Not just because I wear it, I'm gonna own it, but I want to look into it, see if it's good. And Adidas could be another episode on this podcast. So yeah, these are just gotta change your mindset. Just change it a little bit. Be more of an owner. Like, hey, I want to own this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Just be more of an owner. Just change the mindset. 2019 quarter 3, the earnings per share was, the estimated earnings was 31 cents, and then the actual earnings was 4 cents. So that means in quarter 3 2019, they were expecting to be negative, that all the shares, they will be making a negative 31 cents, but instead they actually made 40 cents. See, that's why you want to keep looking at things. See, like, okay, they're improving. Are they improving? Although a company might be doing bad, are they doing bad and not trying anything to fix it, or are they doing bad and they're learning how to fix it so that they can be better off in the future? So you gotta keep watching and see, like, okay, I see this, I see that. They've been doing this for the past couple of years, and they've been doing this and also that. This is good. One thing I know I didn't talk about was dividends. I'm gonna save that for when I actually cover the stocks. These are just quick things I wanted to just talk about, and also just talk about my own experience and my own opinion. Like, I really think you guys should just, before you buy stocks, even if anybody says it, just look it up. See if you like it. See if they do stuff that you like. Maybe they might have, maybe they support something you don't like, or maybe they do this that you don't like. Make sure when you buy a company, you're owning it and you're researching, because you literally are, support your owner. Like, have that ownership mentality. It might not be the biggest, but you still own a piece of it. Just keep it up. Now I have a bunch of just quick notes I took on Spotify. Okay, I believe this is all in 2020. I didn't write down the dates for this one, so I think it's 2020 that they did these, or 2019. But I'm gonna redo it and let you guys know if I was wrong or right. And you guys can even check, and say, hey, look, Doyen, you was wrong, or you was right, But I believe these are 2020, and these are the quick notes I got. Spotify bought 3 podcast companies this year so far. Software company. I think one was a software company called Anchor, and they purchased that one for $154 million. Independent content producer Gimlet Media for $195 million. Paracast for 55 million, only paid 40 so far. Some Anchor employees got equity, into, I believe, into Spotify, which is something nice. I like that. If that's what they did, I like that. Something Spotify paid up to 222 million for Gimlet Media. Gimlet Media is the creators of a podcast like Startup, Crime Town, and The Pitch. Spotify current assets are Spotify current assets adds up to 2.2 million. The current liabilities add up to 2.4 million. Spotify spent around 400 to 500 million on acquisitions this year alone. And remember, I did all this back in late May, early June, or maybe this one I probably did in July. But as you can see, they spent and they've been doing these stuff. That's why I like Spotify, because although the music, I forgot why exactly, but the music industry is not very profitable for them. So they try to get into podcasts, which is, I love it. It's a great thing that they're getting get into, and they they get into the podcast. So just which is good. So that's why I think Spotify would do good. But don't believe what I say. Just take what I say at 50%, and you do the research for the other 50%, so that you can understand for yourself. Because I probably said a lot of things wrong here. Just remember to do the research yourself to understand it. And then I put about 100 million left in the bank. I do not know why I put that one for, but I did. And that was it for these three stocks that I researched back in the day. That's all the stocks I did in the beginning. So now in the next couple of episodes, I'm just going to be just redoing them. And I would like if you guys could comment down below, give me feedback on how am I doing it. Is it bad that I'm in the parking lot? Just let me know, like, just little stuff like how can I increase the quality or make it better. Just give me hints. This is my first time really doing something like this. I'm new to it. I just like to talk about stocks. Just let me know, just criticize and tell me, like, what do I really critique, what can I improve on, what can I do better, and just help me out here. I'm just starting it off, and I like if you guys feedback. And one thing I want to ask you guys, and I would like you guys to answer it down below. If not, then just answer to yourself in your head, or look it up for yourself. What are you wearing right now that is a name brand in the stock market? And do you own it? And that's it. I am Doyen, and I wish you guys to have the best day.